This is the E-commerce Brain Trust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our brain trust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello and welcome to the E-commerce Brain Trust podcast. I'm your host, Julie Spear, alongside my co-host, Jordan Ripley. And we have our favorite, our monthly retail roundup, where we recap all of the key industry news from the past month. And as usual, we have members of the Brain Trust, Armin, to talk all things organic and ops, and Ross to break down all things ads. So welcome back, Armin, Ross. Great to have you. Excited to dig in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be back.
I'm glad you guys are officially members of the Brain Trust. I didn't realize that was on the table. So
it's an announcement. We're announcing it today. It's
lower the value of your equity as a member of the Brain Trust.
Well, today we've got a grand total of 5 questions, but I think we're cheating because within each question there's like 12 questions.
Perception.
Yeah, August was a busy month in more ways than one. And so we have a lot to dig into. And it just feels right that we should start the conversation with one focused on Rufus. I know personally, I have spent time doing like the new Amazon world e-commerce retail media party trick of asking Rufus what it remembers about me as a consumer. And it's like those personality tests where you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, that is me, but even more accurate. So this week, or not this week, but this past month, and especially end of last week, there was a lot of buzz around the idea that Rufus has a memory. Rufus can remember who you are. And while this is fun and very interesting as a consumer, a user of Rufus, to play and see what Rufus actually remembers, what do you actually see the implications of this capability being for brands as they're, needing to optimize more and more for the AI aspect of organic on Amazon? Toss this first one to you to start, Armin.
Yeah. So you are what you shop, right? So I think that the standard playbook for optimizing around conversational relevance still holds up. So everything we've been talking about ever since AI came up. So this new Rufus feature just puts a bigger spotlight on it. So if this becomes the default way people shop on Amazon, then the biggest levers for brands will continue to be things like strong content, solid reviews, and overall reputation for delivering great product quality and customer experience. What's interesting now is how much more personalized this gets. So as Rufus starts remembering your browsing and purchase history, it becomes easier for it to surface exactly the type of product you're looking for. And that means the shopping journey is getting way more focused. So as a brand, you just have to be on that short list. And what I also expect is that conversion rates will evolve here because, users aren't looking through pages of results anymore. Mm-hmm. They're just being handed a few highly relevant options. Mm-hmm. So to compete in this new experience, brands will really need to understand their customers better first, just like Rufus is learning about the shoppers. So that means tools like AMC, and I would love to hear Ross on this, is basically using AMC, for example, to dig into the shopper behavior and then understand what actually drives action and then shape your content and product strategy around those insights.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll just join in on that subject and say, I completely agree. And I'm just waiting for that moment when we start to get some of those Rufus placement insights that help us. We found this year that using behavioral signals really helps improve the performance of DSP and sponsored ads. But so when we leverage AMC audiences that say refine our search from every single person searching for a keyword or every single person who's in market for water bottles, we get better conversion rate. We get better click-through rate when we add a modifier for people that have the behavior that makes them look like a current customer. Yeah. We're totally ready to double down on it. We're just waiting for some of those Rufus insights to really tweak it.
Yeah. And also, not to put a damper on this parade, because this is exciting. And I think I agree with all that you're saying, but I want to call out the elephant in the room that we're waiting for customer adoption for use of Rufus for search. I mean, that's a minor element here as well. There's still not a high rate of adoption on the customer base.
I asked my Patriots, Patriots. Anyway, I asked my counterparts at Acadia SEO if there's any tools yet that let us understand like what is search volume like for AI search, and or like people who start their customer journey using AI. And the answer is that it's like a totally different way of engaging. And so all the search volume pretty much falls below the bar of what you would consider relevant. And so you can't really track it because everyone's search is in a different way. It's not keyword based anymore.
Right.
And so we kind of need a new way to evaluate, to your point, Julie, like either a self-reported metric of like active users or a self-reported like clusters of like this many users are asking questions that contain keywords of a certain type before we can evaluate it.
Yeah. I think that's like the right way to look. We had a recent episode with Mike Black from Profitero, and a lot of this, I think, survey data of talking to customers and like actually how they're searching will remain a good proxy to understand adoption. I think the reason why we can't hold our breath of like seeing AI signals in AMC is like anything that's going to lead to audience sizing, even at a proxy level. I think Amazon's going to be incredibly cagey about saying like, oh yeah, here's the total number of your shopper base that's been using Rufus. Like that's never going to, it may sometime, it's not coming anytime soon to answer for my speculation.
And specifically using Rufus for search, the other elements that Rufus provides, they might show in aggregate how customers are engaging with Rufus, but using Rufus for search is the key there.
And this development generally,
it as like where does it fit in the customer journey, right? Like engage with search ad, engaged with DSP ad, like engage with Rufus, like just tell me relatively where it sits. That's enough to start.
Yeah. I also think that like there have always been lots of places within the Amazon ecosystem where it's exposed prior user behavior to that user, right? Buy it again, those sorts of things. But so this is not a dramatic change that they would start putting that into Rufus in my mind, but like the level of sophistication of what around me, I think like feels really dramatic. So I understand like this feels like a shift. I also think it points to what a lot of people have talked about of like whoever controls that shopper data will be able to build the AI solution that is the best, right? So if people are doing this primarily in ChatGPT and most of that contextual data lives in ChatGPT, they have a leg up in terms of building that solution for shopping. Whereas if a lot of that belongs on Amazon, as it has done historically, Amazon leads in that case. So it'll be an interesting arms race to watch here.
I have like 3 topic clusters here, but I'm just going to put them aside.
We told you there was 12 questions in each
episode.
question. Yeah, we're 4 levels deep in podcast inception. We got to come back up to the topic.
Back onto the roundup.
Yeah, exactly. We were all above water. Let's go a little bit below water to some things that are important, but perhaps a little less buzzworthy in the space. Speaking specifically about some kind of operational elements here, one of which is seller feedback, I should say, that has switched to a ratings only model. We've seen this in product reviews for a while, but now we're starting to see come to seller feedback. We also saw Amazon discontinuing prep services next year. That seems like a pretty big shift. And then a complete overhaul for goods that are damaged by Amazon. Amazon's at fault for FBA goods, and how brands can sort of reconcile or choose to receive that inventory or be refunded. Armin, a lot of stuff there. Can you walk us through it? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, one question. So for seller feedback update, basically Amazon is now letting customers leave a star rating without needing to write anything. So no comments, just a quick tap to rate the experience. And the idea here is that by making it faster and easier, Amazon's hoping to increase the number of seller ratings that come through. Honestly, this makes sense, right? Like most people don't want to write a paragraph just to say their package arrived on time.
Especially about the seller. Like, man, do I love this seller.
So the bad thing is that you won't be able to appeal star-only ratings through the usual feedback manager tool. So no written feedback means no appeal. And if someone leaves you a 1-star rating with no context, you just don't have options to challenge that anymore. Amazon does say we will still review all feedback, even the star only ones, and there's still going to be a report a violation option. But honestly, I don't buy it. I think that the overall result of this will be poor seller ratings, which can just have some implications on the buy box, as well as running some deals around tentpole events. When Amazon is requiring you, for example, to be above 3.5 seller rating, if you fall down below that, you won't be able to run those promos. Not a huge shift, but still, I envision some feedback that will be left for sellers that won't be removed ever.
Yeah. Okay.
So the other update you mentioned was prep service. Yeah. So for this one, so starting January 1st next year, Amazon will no longer offer prep and an item labeling service for FBA shipments in the US. So that means that you'll need to make sure all your inventory is fully prepped and labeled before it reaches Amazon. So no more relying on them to do it for you. If your inventory arrives unprepped after January 1st, it won't be eligible for reimbursements as it used to be. So if it gets damaged or goes missing, you don't get the money. And this applies.
Will Amazon still prep it? Will they still label it for you?
I don't think so. They don't mention that at all. It's just, off limits. I wonder what will happen with vendors though, because on vendor side, they do these things and vendor was not mentioned here. So this applies to all FBA shipments, whether you send them directly or, AWD, AGL, whatever. And Amazon says most sellers are already handling their own prep, which I feel like, when we look at our client book, maybe a handful of clients are actually relying on Amazon for this. So the goal for Amazon is to just focus on fulfillment speed and operational efficiency, which totally makes sense. So it's a welcome change as long as they actually improve the inbound and outbound.
Sure.
The one caveat.
And the last one was FBA damaged products. So Amazon is changing the policy here and introducing new options for sellers. So historically, Amazon would automatically reimburse sellers for damaged inventory that was at Amazon fault, and then they would take ownership of the items. But what this meant was these damaged products would then show up again at a discount, Amazon warehouse deals, liquidation channels. And sometimes, this would undercut your pricing, hurt your brand perception, and also buy box. And now what's happening is you will have a choice. Amazon is giving you the ability to opt out of reimbursement and retain ownership of this inventory, which moves this inventory into unfulfillable and it's deemed defective. So you then get to decide whether to, remove it, resell it, recover value through other means, whatever you want to do. The tricky part is that Amazon, again, being sneaky, the default option in the settings is to enable Amazon to assume ownership of all assets. So you get reimbursed and Amazon resells the items. And I feel like for a lot of brands, the default option won't make sense. So they'll want to adjust that ASAP. There's an option to disable this completely. So in this case, you don't get reimbursed, but you keep control of all damaged inventory. And then there's also selective options where you can just select or deselect specific cases. I think this is great for sellers who maybe have multiple categories or they just simply want to separate settings by product. And my personal recommendation really here is to disable this by default. So yes, you'll lose some money on the damaged units, but at least you keep control. You don't risk losing buy box or, for example, getting negative reviews. So even if a shopper buys a damaged or used product, they can still leave a review on the original listing, which can really be bad for a listing.
Seems like overall better. You need to be aware of this and you need to enact that you have more control.
Exactly.
High hype. So high on the hypometer.
Oh, we haven't hyped anything. How
there are 6 updates.
So we need to hype, it's 3 different hypes because it was 3 updates. So feedback, very bad, I would say updates. So I'll give it a 1.
Oh boy.
Prep service, meh. I mean, only those who actually use it will care. So maybe a 6.
Maybe 5.
And then, and the Amazon damaged inventory, I would say for sellers who want control this is a 9.
Ooh,
All right.
So like a blended hype rate of about a 5.3.
Yeah, you do the average. Yeah, you do
The blended average.
Well, I think Amazon, they seem to be doing like a lot of housekeeping in advance of Q4 because we have another update. And Armin, if you'd like to take a sip of water while I frame the question, because this one's coming back at you. And this one's actually been something to observe in our own Slack channels as our ops team is digging into what it means. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. At first, this seemed like a huge consequential update. Now it's significant, but we'll see how maybe when you hype this one, I'll just lead in. I'm not even naming it yet. When you hype this one, Armin, you can say maybe the initial, what the impact was, and now based when we know updated information. But what I'm referring to is the deprecation of variation themes. Amazon came out with news that they're going to deprecate a whole bunch of different variation themes, which sent our team diving in to understand what exactly this meant and how many products across catalogs were going to be impacted. What does this look like? And like I said, it's been a journey. Can you walk us through it, Armin?
Yeah, it's a journey I've been on for a decade now.
He's hardened to it.
It sometimes honestly feels that Amazon releases some of these updates as if there was no one reasonable available to review before it goes live. So they dropped this bomb of an update on August 19, saying that between September 2nd and end of November, they're cleaning up products listing templates by removing, so many variation themes that are either irrelevant or rarely used for certain product types. And then they said, if you try to update a listing that's still using one of these deprecated themes, Amazon would just block the update and you would have to fix the whole variation setup. Yeah. And this meant going through all kinds of variation management processes from deleting, recreating parent, updating all relevant child asins, reassigning them to specific parents. Simply said, it would be a nightmare project for anyone managing medium to large catalogs. You would have to go set everything up from scratch. And obviously people started panicking. Internally, we had a brainstorming sessions on how we want to approach this, only to get an apologetic update from Amazon 2 days ago saying that they only meant to deprecate variation themes that had no sales in the last 12 months. And that all variations, even if affected by this update, won't break and we'll be able to edit them as before. So the only change is that creation of new products using the new templates will need to follow the new format.
Okay.
So yeah, hype first update was a 10 disaster. And now I would just say a mere 6 or 7. I still foresee issues with these changes though. It's not the first time that Amazon releases an update saying it won't affect a specific group of products, but then it actually does.
Yeah.
So I guess it's wait and see, but at least we won't need to recreate our catalogs from scratch.
And it's also a reminder of don't have an initial panicked reaction. Dig in, get some understanding, and accept that likely something's going to change with the update.
Yeah, that does remind me of I feel like titles, particularly in the past, certain categories would be just kidding, tomorrow you only have 80 characters for these. And everyone would be oh my God, that's everything I've written. And then it'd be well, maybe some categories, and we'll enforce it occasionally. And it's just the content. Yeah,
and then you're 2 years after that, and you're still using the long title that had
headphones perfect for babies. Yeah. Ross, I appreciate your sort of just support and chuckling in the background as Armin for the last 12 minutes. We got through some industry headlines. There are a couple retailer tech stack partnerships that seemed noteworthy that came out in the past month. I have a sense that one of these might be more wavier on the making wave scale. But just to dive into it, first, Macy's is the latest that announced that they will be using Amazon's app platform, Amazon Retail Ad Service. Again, real sexy name there. And then, so they'll be using that for their retail media network. Walmart, another big one, just came out a few days ago, moving away from the trade desk as the platform that powers their DSP. Again, I expect a little bit of a different scale on these updates, but walk us through these and what the impact looks like initially.
Yeah, I think Walmart moving away from the trade desk is more of a 9 on the hypometer. Because, and again, moving away is probably too strong a word. They're just no longer exclusive with the trade desk, which opens the door to other DSPs getting in there, and probably more likely, in my opinion, them developing their own DSP following in Amazon's footsteps. And all of the reports that I've read have had to do with the fact that, trade desk fees are just too high. So Walmart is like paying too much, is having to pay too much, for this. It's no longer worth it. Like the scale has gotten to a point where like they probably couldn't renegotiate. And I don't know if anybody watches this stuff, but the trade desk stock took a massive dive when they did their earnings, like just before they did their earnings call. The word was out that Walmart was out the door already. Like people knew that this was happening. So yeah, that's like much more turmoil. And I think Walmart stands to gain a lot, and we stand to gain a lot because I hope Walmart develops a self-serve model that will make it easier for brands to access offsite inventory. That's just the natural step for Walmart. Macy's, on the other hand, is like, I would say like more of a 3 or a 4. I thought it was a little bit higher originally, but I was speaking with someone the other day, and
another compatriot.
Another Toronto Canadian patriot at arms.
Yeah.
What's their level of nationalism?
Brother in arms, sister in arms, as they go by. And look, Macy's is not like too serious of a retailer in the grand scheme of things. Like bigger than Sprouts and yeah, absolutely. But like still not a giant player, and like kind of in the the latter years of their relevance. So I do see this as a potential sign of things to come, of like more retailers agglomerating to the one retail media network to rule them all, which will be Amazon. That's my bet. But at the same time, like this is the third retailer that's signed up for this in how many months? Like how hard have they been working to try and find retailers to sign on here? So this could be not like opening the floodgates, but we might, if we start to see some more retailers signing on in the next few months, I think it could be like a strong sign. But for the moment, I'm still investigating what it looks like and how it compares to what it was like on Criteo for Macy's, and like how are the CPCs or the effectiveness different. I'm very curious to see. I think people are still, retailers are not like piling in on this offering that Amazon has created.
Yeah, I feel like we're at both sides of the spectrum, right? There's a million build versus buy considerations in RMNs right now, and at the very high end of the spectrum, which there only are a few like players at that end on Walmart scale, where it's like, okay, a build makes sense, and then we're seeing the Macy's go decidedly buy and leveraging a competitor in this case.
Yep.
So you're gonna hype that one?
That's like a 3. That's a 3. It was
that's a 3. Okay.
Yeah, that's a 3.
Oh, you did say. Okay.
Confirmed.
You put so many you downplayed it so much that
yeah. I mean, like my personal hype was reflected in the score.
Exactly. Well, let's get to our final question. This is the 5th one, and yes, there's more than one question within it. This one's about TikTok. We've got a couple things here. One, they announced that you can use Buy with Prime directly within TikTok to check out for a product purchase and use Amazon's fulfillment network. The other thing is that TikTok rolled out technology that's going to allow for cross-channel conversion traffic measurement without needing a pixel or cookie.
Yeah.
So while these are two separate things, let's put them together. What do you take these developments to mean for TikTok's overall place in commerce?
So if you read, I'll say first, the one that I think is more valuable or more hype, is incorporating Buy with Prime into the platform, because it just it eases the browsing, content consumption to purchase flow. Like it makes it even easier. Assuming you just log into your Amazon account, it makes it really easy to buy right on platform. It should. And so I'll be very interested to start seeing how brands pick up on this and want to leverage that, as opposed to setting up going down the route of a more exclusive TikTok e-commerce ecosystem. I think for them, it makes sense to piggyback off of Amazon. Makes of ChatGPT and Claude and other AI as well. Will it just be easy for them to incorporate Buy with Prime into their platforms, as opposed to spinning up their own e-commerce stack? There might be one or two that where it does make sense, but other ones might just say we'll just integrate with Amazon and be done with it. The other one about, tracking offsite measuring, off TikTok conversion without pixel. Like, I don't know. I've been doing a little bit of reading on this, and there's scarce details around how this works or how it's supposed to work or what it's supposed to do. But from what I've read, it's like, it's actually the metrics that they're talking about. They're really just trying to, if you click on a TikTok ad and then land on a website, if you stay on that website for like 10 seconds, or if you stay on that retailer for more than 10 seconds, then you get some KPIs around it. So you have this like engaged session metric. Mm-hmm. That's all. Like, I'm not seeing much more detail around it than that. It's like it's pixelless or what have you. I'm not sure what the flow looks like. I'm not hyped on it because I don't see the details and I don't understand the effect.
Engaged traffic is a euphemism of like, is this traffic absolute garbage or not? And they will distinguish that at least.
Baby step.
Well, I think we hit high marks for efficiency here for sure with this roundup. We covered about 10 different topics in less than 30 minutes. And as usual, we've boiled down a whole month into just a short podcast episode full of conversation with witty banter. I mean, can we ask for more? So Armin, Ross, official, welcome to the Brain Trust. We're glad to have you here. Glad to have you back for another retail roundup, and we'll see you again next month.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.